Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Ask Scott. Thank you for joining me, and I hope that you and your loved ones are safe and well in these unprecedented times. And I've got an interesting question that I wanted to share with you all that I think is really relevant to our time right now, and that is, hey Scott, I feel stressed over our current situation, and I'm worried that my stress will weaken my immune system, making me even more vulnerable, and that adds even more stress. What do I do? Well, it's a great question, and I'd love to entertain that one today. What we're talking about here are literally two different things. We're talking about our state of mind, and we're talking about our physical body and our immune system. I want to explore them independently, and then I want to bring them together so we can see that they're actually just one working on our behalf. So first, let's talk about the body's immune system. Really simply, we've got something called the mucosal barrier that lines all of our cavities from our nose, our mouth, our digestive system, from our mouth all the way to our anus. It is literally our first line of defense. It's designed to detect and protect us from the outside environment like viruses, bacteria, and parasites. That's its job, to literally detect those invaders and protect us from them. So we want to make sure that our mucosal barrier is healthy and strong. And there's many things that can influence that. Today, we're just going to talk about the role of state of mind. Now, switching over to state of mind, what's actually happening is we are designed to feel our thinking moment to moment. In other words, whatever we're holding in our mind will begin to feel in our body. And it's designed that way so that we can have a rich experience living in this human body. So what I like to say and how I kind of think about it is when our mind is wound up, our physiology or our body gets wound up, and we begin to feel it in a way that we feel tension, we feel maybe a little bit agitated through our body, we feel muscle tension, and all of that is a result of whatever's we're holding in our mind, we're holding in our physiology. And what I mean by that is that we have a shift in our chemistry. We have neurotransmitters and cortisol that come in to create those feelings that we're currently feeling. Now, the intensity of the emotion, the intensity of the feeling oftentimes makes us think that there's something to do. I have to do this, I have to get that done, I have to do this, I have to make this decision, I have to do that. And all of a sudden our mind gets really, really revved up even more. This is what creates a sense of chronic stress. This is what creates this need to get rid of the feeling, is this intensity makes it feel like there's something urgent to do. And when we think that there's something urgent to do, but we don't have the clarity of mind to do it, all of a sudden we can find ourselves running on a wheel, running on a wheel, running on a wheel. Now, how this ties into our mucosal barrier is that when we have higher levels of cortisol running through our body for longer periods of time, it actually suppresses the production of the mucosal barrier secretory IgA. Now, what that does over time is it leaves us vulnerable to viruses, bacteria, and parasites. Now, here's the really good news. The good news is that we have a state of mind that is designed on our behalf. And this is where I want to kind of dive in and really see that the design is working on our behalf. You see, our state of mind and our circumstances are completely two different things. So, in other words, our state of mind is not a slave to our circumstances. In other words, our circumstances are not prescriptive about how we're supposed to think and feel. They are completely independent of each other. The good news about that is that we don't have to wait for our circumstances to change in order for our state of mind to change. That's really good news, because the way that our mind is designed, it's designed so that we have thoughts that come through, we feel that thinking, and then thoughts move through, and then our feelings change. That is a constant flux and flow of how thought works moment to moment. The good news about that is there's a natural self-corrective nature to our own state of mind. This is really important to begin to understand, because in our world, in our current world, what it feels like is that we're supposed to be stressed because of our circumstances. We're supposed to be stressed because of the economy. We're supposed to be stressed because of our bank accounts. We're supposed to be stressed because our loved ones are sick. But what's important to remember is it's not about being stressed or not being stressed. It's about understanding that stressful thinking can and will move through, and that is normal and natural being a human being. But what's important to remember is that it will move through. See, it's self-corrective, meaning that as stressful thinking moves through, new thinking, clear thinking, resilient thinking can also come through and help us see with different perspective moment to moment. Now, when we leave our state of mind on its own to allow it to get stirred up and then get clear and then get stirred up and then get clear, when we let it be on its own, we find that its actual default setting is clarity. Its default setting is clear thinking. So if we don't have to get in the way and be worried or afraid of the feelings that we're feeling, what we'll find is that our state of mind will actually shift. Our cortisol levels will naturally shift. Our neurotransmitter levels will naturally shift, and we'll find that our immune system will be protective all the way through. So I want to be really clear about this. This is not about not being stressed, because that's something that we humans don't have any sort of control over. You know, it's like when people say, oh, I control my thinking. Well, if that were true, if you controlled your thinking, you'd never have stressful thinking. So the fact is that thinking comes to us and then it goes. And when stressful thinking comes to us and it makes it feel like there's something to do and we engage at that level, sometimes we kind of innocently hold it in play. But if we could realize that that stressful thinking is just simply moving through, and the moment we become aware of that stressful thinking, the shift of clarity is already in process. That's what's so beautiful about the design, is that it's already in process working on our behalf. So here's what's amazing about how the system really works, is like we are all in a self-driving car, but we don't really know it. We think that it's our job to do all the steering, to do all the braking, to do all the accelerating. But what if we were in a self-driving, self-corrective car when it comes to our own state of mind? What if it knew how to find the center of the lane, and so that we didn't have to keep running into the guardrails, overcorrecting or undercorrecting, overcorrecting and undercorrecting? What if that wasn't really our job at all? What if that the fact that thoughts come and go was really how it worked? And what's most important is that a normal, natural default setting of the human mind is resilience. A normal, natural default setting of the human mind is clarity. And a normal, natural default setting of the human mind is creativity. You see, we're actually really designed for what's going on right now. Because although things seem crazy in the outside world, we have the most wonderful navigation system that's built within the human body, within the human mind, to allow us to navigate these circumstances from a place of connectedness and clarity. And that's what I love so much, is that if we can allow the design to work for us and we can step out of the way, we can let our immune system be strong, and we can let our psychological immune system do its job as well, so that we can more easily not just survive our current circumstances, but literally move into the future in a way that we thrive altogether. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful. If you found this enjoyable and helpful, I encourage you to check out my course that's coming up called Insight, Health, and Healing. It's a 4-week virtual course where we take a deep dive into the mind-body connection and beyond, so we can really see how the design is set up on our behalf. All right, that's it for now. Have an awesome week.